We're just getting everyone into the meeting here. You can turn your videos on. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm so excited to see you. I think we're live on YouTube, but there is a little bit of a delay. So I've got a bunch of screens open here.
Oh, yep, it's live.
Okay, cool. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. All right, I'm going to give everyone a few minutes to jump into the YouTube live so they can follow along with us there. Yay, we did it. It premiered, it worked.
Technology.
We did it.
Let's see. I'm missing McKinley. I wonder if she's going to join us. Ryan, you prepared the correct backdrop and everything.
I had too much spare time today, so this was what I was doing.
Oh, no, I love it. I feel bad that I don't. I guess I could change my background, but then you won't get to see the special guest.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay. Right. People are connecting in, and we have about 10 people watching us, which are probably your parents. Hi, families. So what I thought we'd do is give everyone an opportunity to introduce themselves. And then I have a couple of questions. And then those of you who are watching in the live chat, I have that up on my other screen over here. And I'd love for you to jump in and join us with any questions you might have for our cast and our playwright. So there is a slight bit of delay. So hopefully you're not in the same room as your student who is the cast. Okay, good. All right, good. So first off, I just want to say thank you to everyone who joined us today. This was really an exciting adventure for us. My name is Emily Howard, and I am the drama club advisor at the high school. And this is my fantastic group of students. And guys, you can go ahead and unmute yourself if you'd like to and keep your video on if you feel like it. And let's start. We'll go in alphabetical order. So with your last name, see if I can do this correctly. So tell us your name, your grade, and what your role was in this particular production. Cody, you're up.
Hi, my name's Cody Aquesta. I'm in 10th grade, and I played AJ Lorraine, in the right.
Excellent. Dylan, you're next.
Hi, I'm Dylan. I'm in 10th grade and I played Vance Woodall in the play.
Jack.
Hi, my name is Jack Bella. I am a junior and I played Sir Olympia Rosenberg.
And you got a snazzy haircut. Let's see.
I did. Thank you.
Ryan, who also got a haircut.
Yes! Oh my gosh, it was so nice to finally get in. So my name is Ryan Hermanette. I am a junior and I played Sir Demetrius Youngblood.
Great. Next is McKinley.
Hi, I'm McKinley Miller. I am in 12th grade and I was the writer and Stacy.
Excellent. And then Veronica.
Hi, I'm Veronica Swan. I'm in 10th grade and I played Heather Graham.
Veronica, your hair looks shorter too. Did you get a haircut
Yep.
too? And Deborah.
Hello, I'm Deborah Zarek. I'm in 12th grade and I played Pearl Cortez.
Awesome. Okay, great. Thank you all for introducing yourselves. We have a comment. You are all so brave for trying something new and you are amazing. I agree with both of those statements, so kudos. I have some questions for you. I thought I'd start, McKinley, with you real quickly. Now, I want to warn everyone that I've never facilitated a talkback, and it would be much easier, obviously, if we were in person. There are a lot of challenges with this particular piece, but I think it's cool we're trying this. So McKinley, I know that you are, maybe everyone at home doesn't know this, but you also write other things. You write short stories, you write novels, you write movie scripts. I know you have one in the works. So what is unique about writing a play? And talk to us a little bit about what's unique about a play.
Yeah, that's a good question. Writing a play had its unique challenges with writing the stage instructions, which became even more difficult when it turned into a Zoom play. Um, the problem, well, not problem, but the interesting thing about writing a play is you have to kind of have experience in being in a play in order to kind of keep in mind like how people speak, how people move, what you can and can't do on a stage. So while I did have characters appearing in a dream sequence, I had to keep in mind what I could and couldn't do on a stage, and in turning it into Zoom, it became a different challenge of making what I had written to happen on a stage happen on Zoom. And it was interesting to be the author of this piece and watch it turn into a Zoom show, which it was an interesting experience to watch and see that it translated well, and that everyone could figure it out, and that we're so adaptable to change like this.
Absolutely. I think it's you've made some really interesting points about being you were an actor before you had attempted to write for a play, which I think is very interesting. Is this your first play that you wrote?
I'm going to say yes, because my previous experiences were far, far shorter than this and wouldn't have lasted 2 minutes.
Okay. Well, this is very ambitious. Your play runs just under 30-ish minutes. And for those of you watching at home, I explained in the program that this would have been our 4th annual One Act, which is supposed to be student-driven work. And we had many of the actors and McKinley were part of the committee to put forth a whole night of One Acts. But the really cool thing is that this is the first time we've ever had a student-written One Act, which for me as the person producing this, well, the drama club produced it, but I'm the adult in charge. The fact that we didn't have to worry about copyright issues and licensing concerns in regards to streaming the material really opened up a door. So it was kind of really fortuitous that it was a student written piece in this particular era. It was like it was meant to be. We won't say that, but we made the best of it. Okay, so Jack, you have a fan. Someone says you're amazing, and someone also appreciates Ryan's costumes. So we'll talk a little bit about the fact that costumes, lighting, the set, all those things were done by the individual actors. So actors and McKinley, who is also an actor, I'm going to ask you, what were some of the unique challenges that presented themselves for rehearsing and presenting material in an online format? So something that maybe surprised you or that was unique, you weren't expecting. If you want to like wave your hand and I can call on you, you can share something. Jack, unmute yourself, Jack.
Yeah, so I'd say the biggest difference or thing that like wasn't expected would definitely have been you need to remember to turn on your own mic. Yeah, might have missed my first 3 lines or so because of that. And then of course just being aware of your surroundings in the theater. It's generally given that it's going to be quiet. But when you have a puppy in the house, or I know for some people, little siblings, it can definitely be noisy. Or heck, I think at one point there's even like a lawnmower outside during one of our scenes. So yeah, there are a lot of different factors they have to be mindful of.
Great. Does anyone else have something they want to share? Dylan, you're waving frantically.
I think the aspect of having to make our own like basically sets and costumes was definitely different. The costume wasn't as bad. I mean, I got easy. I just got to wear a hoodie, but yeah, it was definitely a bit of a challenge. I mean, I know like some of you had to have crowns, and like you didn't have those readily available. So, I mean, it was fun to try and like find what was around the house, and also for my background, I like boarded myself in my room for it, so like I couldn't leave while doing it, which was good. But it was just fun to be able to try and figure out like how to make it work, basically, and have it functional.
Yes, great. Anyone else have, Brian, go ahead.
So kind of branching off of what both Jack and Dylan said, what made this unique, and it was something that I really appreciated and loved about doing it on a Zoom call, despite some of the oddities that come along with doing it. I really liked that I was able to have both the cast aspect and the crew aspect and some of the other behind the scenes work that went along with being in a production. I personally am normally just involved with the cast. I don't really do too much on the crew side of it. I help, but I'm not a full-on crew member. So, but being in your own home and having to figure out costumes and lighting and the backdrop, it was a really nice experience to get a taste of what it's like to be a crew member and to have the all-around experience of being a part of theater.
Great. Anyone else have anything they, oh, okay. McKinley, go ahead.
Wi-Fi. There were a couple of days there that I know that some of us, I had some trouble with like trying to maintain the Wi-Fi connection when rehearsing, because if you don't have it, you get bumped out and then you have to come back in and it throws everything off. Because in order to organize all the frames and in the way that so that we knew where to look for certain people, you had to come in at a certain time. So if you got dropped out, it messed the whole thing up, and it was one of the more unreliable and frustrating parts of it. But I think we ended up making it work out pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. It's challenging. Veronica, did you have something?
Yeah, the probably really difficult was just figuring out where to look. So I had sticky notes everywhere in my room, on my curtains, on my wall, just like everywhere. And it was just crazy. Just, am I looking right? But it was very fun to do.
Yeah, that's a great point. If those of you who have the program check out, I think it was Cody and McKinley sent in their pictures of their workstation. And I know Ryan did the same thing with sticky notes around his space. Just because it's just so that people are aware, when I'm taping in Zoom recording the host, it actually flips the videos. So the actors are not looking at the same thing that's being recorded. So that was a real challenge for all of us. You almost have to kind of ignore everyone else on the screen or just pin your own video. Deborah, did you have something or did you? No. Okay. All right. We have a couple of questions coming in here. This is interesting. Did you have to change anything from the original script in order to perform it over virtual platform?
Not necessarily in order to make it good for Zoom, but I did have to change the script a little bit because AJ was originally a girl character. So I had to change it so that Cody could do a great job with it, which I think was probably the best decision that could be made. I think the casting for this is as good as it could have possibly been.
So that's an interesting, that kind of leads us in. People had some questions about maybe who was what role and how we determined that. And so I will speak a little bit about that. McKinley and I met and we asked anyone who was involved in drama club at the high school to make an appointment to have a virtual audition with us through MS Teams. And we, so everyone had to learn how to use their calendar function and working through some office admin sort of things. And the cast, the actors who wanted to audition had to prepare a monologue, and they had to go out and find their own piece somewhere. And we had actually some great unique pieces that I'd love maybe for some of you to share those at another time, because you found some really amazing pieces. And from that, we actually had the exact right number of students audition, one short. So McKinley stepped into spotlight as Stacy, and McKinley worked on some rearranging of genders and that sort of thing to make the cast work. And I agree, you guys, we landed on quite a group of dedicated people. So I'm very proud of you. Emma Whiting says you guys did amazing, great job, I loved it. Love the show, talented group. McKinley, or I suppose anyone but McKinley, because I think maybe I shouldn't put words in your mouth, but I'm thinking that AJ is partially you. Have you ever experienced writer's block?
This whole show was inspired by the writer's block I had trying to write it. Yeah. I've a lot of these are kind of, well, there were a few characters that I started with that were from stories that I actually did stop writing, that I ended up throwing away. but characters that like I fall in love with, write half a book, and then can't figure out how to go any farther. It really is. It's a challenge that it comes with loving writing that you gotta just kind of muscle through, and it really does make the work so much more interesting to have to deal with your own mental limits and then working with it and finding ways past it. But yeah, I have experienced writer's block a lot.
One of my questions for you were any of the characters in the script from any of your other works? And I think you answered that yes, some had been potentially abandoned books.
Sorry.
Characters. Okay. Where'd you get the inspiration for the plot? I think McKinley has answered that for us too, from her own experience. Impressive, great job. I am wondering, actually, I love how all of you are framing things instead of negative and positive, turning them into positive, right? So instead of we talk about something being a problem, we talk about it being a challenge or something that we can overcome or work toward. So I was wondering, actors, if there was anything that you discovered in this process of acting in this weird platform that maybe you hadn't noticed about your own self acting before, or that was brought to light because of the platform we were using. Did anyone make any interesting discoveries because of the medium? Ryan, go ahead.
Okay, so the pitch of my voice. So this is something that I personally have been working on through like the shows that I've done in high school. Specifically, it first started to kind of formulate my different pitch changes, like in The Music Man when I was Charlie Cowell and I had to kind of have this range of pitches to kind of increase the intensity of my anger. And I guess I didn't really realize how much of a difference that it made to have these different pitches and how much they conveyed different emotions. So watching just now what we did, I was able to see these, and it really got me to think to myself, wow, these really are making a difference in the tone that I'm conveying as a character.
That is incredibly insightful, Ryan. I feel like I'm talking to professional actors. You guys are, I love you guys. Did anyone else notice anything unique because of the medium? McKinley?
I noticed a lot like with my facial expressions because like I've only ever experienced theater acting, which you have to make big and bold and brash to get it to translate out to an audience that's like 30 feet away from you, if not more. Probably, I'm bad at estimating, but
Math.
something like that. The difference it makes for how you express things when your frame is literally you in a box, your face in a box, and you have to like make that a lot more subtle in order to translate better when it's in a camera, because on stage you have to make it big to be seen, but when you're so close, you can take it to like a softer level and make it more human. And that was a difference that I noticed, that in terms of like doing more recorded stuff like a movie, that I noticed it would make a difference.
Yeah, that's great. This is I've listened to a lot of interviews about acting in online platforms and how it's not quite theater on stage and it's not quite film. It's somewhere in between. And what's really cool is that professionals are discovering these things the same time that we are. So that's interesting. Deborah, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, but I basically just gonna say what McKinley said, so it's fine.
Ditto. I love it. Jack.
So one thing that I kind of realized is, of course, when you're on stage, people will always be looking at you. You always have your family in the audience, and they're always staring at you whenever you're on stage. However, what's normally easy is your character. If you're the only person on stage, you're obviously out there on a mission. Or if you're out there with other people, you always have those people to interact with or the set to interact with. However, when you're home and you have a green screen backdrop and it's just you and you're listening to all these other characters give their monologues and these long speeches, you have to then go and find a way to interact with the camera or other people where it doesn't look like you're just kind of staring there. And it can be nice because I know there's one point in the show where I give like an eye roll something you'd never really be able to see in live theater. But then there are also times where you're just like, oh, I'm standing there and I need to always be in the moment, but learn how to do that in a different sort of way.
I think those are all great insights. Did anyone else have anything else they want to contribute, noticing in this platform? Anisha says, hey guys, love you so much, did amazing. McKinley, can you give us an estimate of how long it took to write?
So I wrote this over last summer. I had the idea to write it mostly because Emily kept, she knew I liked writing, so she would send me like competitions and opportunities to challenge me with writing scripts, which I hadn't done before this. So I kind of just decided, all right, I'll try it out. It's the middle of summer, and it kind of the process of like building a story probably took me about a week to build the skeleton of it and the characters, and I actually like did a lot of research into reasons why to keep writing because I couldn't think of them all by myself. And then I matched them up to the characters. So like mapping it all out probably took a little bit over a month. And then actually writing it down once I had it all mapped out really well probably only took a couple weeks. So it depends on how you look at it. Actually writing didn't take that long, but figuring it all out was a bit.
Right. So you mentioned that you kind of had particular reasons to keep writing, and then you mapped them to each of the characters so that you could then build each of the unique characters. And someone asked, how do any of you, or how much do you relate to your characters, actors? Jack has been bumped off this with our fun Wi-Fi, but the question was about him tripping on sticks, and we don't ask Jack about any kind of accidents involving knees or anything like that, or his shoes being untied, which, I never could bug him for because I couldn't see him in person. So he's not here to defend himself, so we'll let him go. But did any of you, always when you're acting, you work to find a unique relationship with the character you're playing, but did any of you have any interesting discoveries as you built your character about your own self relating to them or not relating to them? Dylan, go ahead.
Yeah, I remember when we first started, you had us kind of like think about our characters more, and so I started building like thinking about more like the actual story that was written by AJ, like what was Vance written to be like. And so I started building along with just who he was as a person, and I guess kind of finding ways to correlate it back to me, because then it makes it easier to kind of portray it. But yeah, I think it was just purely being able to like flesh out the backstory of who he was. And so like when he finally comes on, that he's a full person and not just like an idea, because like he was more fleshed out in the story than just like meh.
Great. Anyone else have a insight into their character, something they want to share? Ryan.
So one thing that I noticed when playing Sir Demetrius Youngblood is that his personality is like my inner thoughts of me personally. Like it's one of those things where as I'm saying the lines, like for example, like in the one line that I say to Vance, and how are you supposed to know it's therapeutic? Like that kind of questioning attitude and like the almost sassiness in a way. And like that's kind of like on the outside, like I'll like play this character and I'll be like, okay, like I'm not going to question anything. I'll go along with it. And then inside, I'm like, are you serious? Like, what are you even doing? It's weird, but it's kind of opened myself up to like this inner personality that I've had for so long that I just haven't been expressing.
Absolutely. That's what acting can start peeling away those onion layers on ourselves and forces us to kind of see who we are and the choices we make. And then we can build those characters up from there. So yeah, acting is not for the faint of heart, and you all are very brave for doing that. Anyone else have any insight about character development or anything they want to share? I'll say that that it wasn't Wi-Fi, it's that our friends at Newark Middle School are graduating 8th grade tonight. And Jack has a brother in 8th grade, and we're going to shout out all of the 8th graders tonight. And we hope 8th graders, if you're watching this later, come join us at the Newark High School Drama Club and be involved with us. So that's amazing. All right, I think we're almost at 30 minutes. Does anyone have something they'd like to share, or they feel like maybe an important takeaway, either the theme of the show? Some of you had some real poignant lines that you maybe like the biggest takeaway from the show, or from you personally working on a show in this weird medium or where we are. Anything, any kind of last thoughts if anyone wanted to share, and then I have some kind of final ending. Ryan, go ahead.
So really quickly, Jack just texted me. So he answered the question about if he trips on sticks often, and he said it's because he often relates to being the pretty boy.
Ooh. He said it through text, folks. We're taking Ryan's word for this.
Yeah, you can take my word for it. If I'm wrong, I give you all permission to file after me.
Thank you. Does anyone have any kind of last thoughts? Maybe a thematic thing, or Dylan, go ahead.
I mean, I think just from the process of doing this, it really does help to be adaptable, because I'll be the first to say that this was really challenging to try and do. It was very frustrating to try and work everything out. And so I think what really helped me was seeing like the end product, like when we saw like our rehearsals, it really did help to like see like this is what it can be, and it does pay off. So I think it really does just help to be adaptable, and that like if a situation seems like it's hard, just go for it and keep trying, and then eventually, hopefully, it'll be easier, or like you'll find a reason for it.
I say good advice in anything in life. Life lessons we learn through the arts. Just saying. Good job. McKinley.
I just kind of realized throughout this whole global pandemic thing is that we are not guaranteed anything, be it prom or graduation or end of the year one act. It's up to us to be resilient and adaptable in the face of the circumstances that we are handed, and we can make things happen that you can never believe would have otherwise been possible. And it's really up to the individual, and letting the circumstances around you determine how you feel and what you do. That's not the way that anyone should live their life. It's up to us.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Anyone have any other thoughts? Veronica.
Before this, I have never done anything that's a play or not musical at all. I've just done musical. So when I saw the chance to do this, since softball was canceled, I'm like, I'm going to hop on this. I'm going to audition, because it's something new. It's something fun. And I wanted to do the plays, but I can't because of sports. But with sports being canceled, and I saw this, and just to be able to be casted and do it was amazing. And I loved becoming Heather. And I loved just seeing her character and getting to watch those old movies to learn more about her. It was just, I loved doing this so much. It was amazing.
That's great. And I think you kind of watch some of those black and white film noir kind of things to channel Heather. That's really cool. Anyone else? I want to thank everyone for joining us today. There's a couple of thoughts I wanted to end with. Today, the day of this taping is Juneteenth, 2020. And in light of that, I just want to encourage everyone watching at home, and all of you involved in this, to keep doing what inspires you. And your voice matters. Your voice is powerful, and you should use it. So I think that's kind of the takeaway of A Writer's Plight, is that everyone's stories are important, and if we all lift our voices together, we can really create some great stories. So I want to encourage you to do that. And my last final thought is, I'm going to see if I can share this with you. There's something in the theater called a ghost light. And it's, for those of you who don't know, it is we do not have one at Newark High School, but there are, it's a light that stays on stage, and it gets plugged in at the end of every night as you leave. And the logistics of the ghost light is safety, right? So that when anyone entering or exiting the building doesn't bump into anything or, fall down in the pit, as I have done. But the kind of superstitious thing about the ghost light is that it's supposed to welcome the spirits of the theater. Theaters are kind of known for having spirits that hang around, and know that it's a welcoming place for them. And that you know, they're welcome to be in the space. Well, you may have seen during all of this pandemic that a lot of theaters photos of their ghost lights on. And I think that the last idea of the ghost light is that it's a reminder that that we will come back to the theater and that we will keep going. So I hope that you remember that this is only intermission. And I'm going to leave you after we wave and say goodbye. I'll try to share a picture which is from the Auditorium Theater in Rochester, which is where the National Tour Roadhouse, where shows come through. So it's a ghost light of the theater in Rochester. I do not have a photo of our ghost light. We don't have one yet, but I want you to remember that while we went ahead and we adapted and we were flexible and we did this all together, we will find a way to come back together. This will continue. The curtains will go on. We will say places again, and it's only intermission. So I just want to thank all of you for being part of this really unique venture. Thank you to especially this amazing group of actors and our playwright McKinley and all of your families and Newark Schools for allowing us to do this. Mr. Root for supporting us and making this, allowing us to continue doing this kind of outside of the school day. So thank you all for everything. Thank you for watching. And with that, good night. Take care, everyone. I'm going to try to share my screen if I'm smart, but probably not. Here we go. Good night, everyone.